So that brings us to our very first Talk It Out Tuesday episode, Home But Not Alone.
The Crisis Support Services is also a place where you can go for just someone who can be caring and compassionate on the other end of the phone to listen.
And I am so excited to be the moderator for our second episode of Talk It Out Tuesday. And we are going to be talking about supporting teens and young adults through COVID-19.
Everyone's going through some sort of anxiety, and we shouldn't put that pressure on ourselves to do something every second of the day.
Everyone is talking about kids because kids are our present and kids are our future.
So we thought we would talk about domestic and family violence through COVID-19.
How do we get to those victims? How do we let them know we're here to help, and we can get you out of those situations?
And in our fourth episode of Talk It Out Tuesday, we are going to be talking about the impact of the pandemic on multicultural populations.
And the opportunities really for us is, especially among those communities of color, many of them are essential workers.
In our fifth episode of Talk It Out Tuesday, we are talking about the impact of the pandemic on our frontline healthcare workers.
What people are experiencing now are heightened levels of anxiety, similar to what you might experience kind of going into a battle.
And in this episode of Talk It Out Tuesday, we are discussing how the impact of this pandemic has raised some new concerns for our veteran population and also heightened some existing issues. You have served this country and you are an absolute hero, and it's okay if you need help.
Don't be afraid to reach in. Call that battle buddy or that veteran you haven't talked to in a long time from your unit. Rekindle some of the good times that you had together. This is a photograph of myself, my brother Adam.
So this is Katie and her husband Sloan, and this was their wedding photo. Would have been 26 today. In this episode of Talk It Out Tuesday, we are discussing how the state of Nevada has recognized and responded to concerns that are arising for our older population in our communities.
And really just trying to be kind and patient with one another and understanding that everybody has a response that's a little different. And for those folks that are older or have underlying health conditions, this can be a very scary time for them. And so we all need to be patient and kind with one another during this process.
Hello, I'm Connie Ray, and I am excited to moderate this very special episode of Talk It Out Tuesday, the culture crisis, a necessary conversation.
The greater majority, which is white America, and I'll just say white individuals in our community, they're listening.
It's caused us to truly have those tough conversations, look at our internal office, where do we sit in the community, because ultimately we serve this community.
Creating change between law enforcement and the community.
And so let's focus on the commonalities, which are that, for example, the good police officers don't want bad police officers on the force any more than anyone else does. So let's focus on trying to find policies that help to root out those who are sullying the name of our police officers. Part of the systemic racism that we have to address. It's not just in criminal justice, it's not just in education, it's also in employment, it's also in housing, also in other components of economics.
I am Connie Ray, and I am the moderator for this episode of Talk It Out Tuesday, developing Nevada's crisis care response system.
We want a system that allows for people, if they're having a bad day or they're having a mental health crisis, to have someone to talk to right away.
So there's less resources, less providers, and there's a smaller population base.
With September being Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month, this 11th episode of Talk It Out Tuesday, we wanted to discuss the history of suicide in Nevada and where we are today.
We have a long history, unfortunately, in Nevada of these high rates of suicide.
We call those invitations could be behavior, appearance, mood, and they're numerous, of course. So the easiest thing to think about is any change from that person's typical self.
I just, again, encourage anyone to contact Crisis Support Services of Nevada for support and to find services in their area.